Module 2, Building Background Knowledge. What are animal defense mechanisms? Unit 2, Lesson 2, Springbok Gazelle. Guiding questions. How do animals' bodies and behaviors help them survive? How can a writer use knowledge from their research to inform and entertain? How do animals' bodies and behaviors help them survive? How can a writer use knowledge from their research to inform and entertain? Learning targets. I can make inferences based on information from pictures and text from an online source. I can support my inferences with details and examples from pictures and text from an online source. I can find the meanings of unfamiliar words to help me better understand a text. Today you'll be doing a close reading of the Springbok Gazelle, a website called www.archive.org, and it's Wild Screen Archive, and it's about the Springbok Gazelle. If you've not yet done so, you'll start with this page. Your teacher gave you a packet about the Springbok Gazelle. You're to go to this website, and you're supposed to look at the photograph at the top of the web page. I've included it here to the side. In the first column of the graphic organizer below, you're to record 3 details you see in the photograph. Things like the color of the animal, maybe different features of the animal, things like that you see. You put those details in the first box. In the second column of the graphic organizer, you're going to record the inferences you made based on these details. So in other words, if you notice the light brown color, okay, what do you infer? Why would it have light brown fur? Or if you see the horns, what do you think those horns are for? What inference can you make about the animal? Note that you do not complete the right-hand column of the graphic organizer yet. Only after you finish this, then you're going to read the web page and come back to this at a different time. So make sure these first 2 columns are filled in before you move on to the rest of the close reading. Here's the first page of your close reading. You'll notice that we need your research guide that your teacher gave you and the website. You don't need to go to the website. I will include everything in the video today for you, but I do encourage you to go to that website either before or after this video so that you can kind of navigate around it, look at the pictures on your own, read some more things on your own. So I encourage you to do that before or after this video. Okay, number 1, what is the gist of this web page? Remember that to find the gist, you ask yourself who or what is it about, and what do we learn about him, her, or it? So to answer this question, you would use my sentence starter. This web page is about blank, which defend themselves by blank. So this is what we're going to be learning about this animal, and so you want to start off, number 1, just writing down the gist statement of this web page. Number 2, use the arrows to scroll through the slideshow photographs at the top of the web page. Then use details from the photographs to answer the questions on the right. I'll show you a little video of the slideshow, so you don't actually need to go to the website. You can just stay right here in the video and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. Springbok giving birth. Springbok female cleaning newborn lamb. Newborn Springbok trying to stand. Springbok newborn standing for first time. Female Springbok cleaning newborn. Female Springbok eating afterbirth. 1-day-old Springbok resting. Young Springbok suckling. Springbok Juvenile Portrait. Springbok Young. A juvenile or young springbok. Juvenile means not fully grown. Young springbok standing alert. Springbok juveniles feeding. Juvenile springboks sparring. Male sub-adult springbok. So again, not quite grown up. A springbok female, a head detail, so you can see her head close up. Female springbok. A male springbok. Male springbok portrait. Springbok male resting among wildflowers. Springbok, the front view. A close-up of springbok head showing a preorbital gland. Male and female springbok grazing, showing differences in horn thickness. A springbok browsing. Male springbok feeding on acacia. Springbok licking skull for nutrients. Springbok herd grazing in desert habitat. Springbok feeding on vegetation in dune habitat. Springbok herd grazing in savanna. Springbok drinking. Springbok herd at waterhole. Springbok grooming. Springbok running. Two male springbok running. Springbok running. Springbok leaping. Springbok pronking. Springbok pronking. Springbok pronking. Male springbok sparring. Male springboks fighting. Male springbok in rut. Springbok male urinating to mark territory. Male springbok courting female. Springbok herd sheltering in shade. Springbok at canyon edge. Springbok and zebra at waterhole. Jackals attacking springbok. Cheetah chasing springbok. Springbok giving birth. After looking at the photographs, answer the following question. What details do you see about the springbok in these photographs? To answer this question, you can use the following sentence starter. These photographs show the blank. It looks blank. And just fill in descriptive words that you could use to describe the Springbok Gazelle. Do that now. Pause the video if you need more time. Number 3. Now scroll through the slideshow videos. Use details from the videos to answer the question on the right. Again, you do not need to leave this video. I have incorporated into the video for you, so you just need to watch the video that follows, and it's going to show you all the videos available on the website. Make sure you watch all of them. After watching the videos, please answer the following question. What details do you see about the Springbok in these videos? To answer this question, you can use the following sentence starter. These videos show the blank. It does a lot of blank. It also blank. So in these blanks, you would want to describe the way that the Springbok moves. Any other thing that you noticed about the Springbok, anything else that you think might be important, you could include in your answer. Be sure to pause the video in order to finish question 3 before you move on. Number 4. Scroll down and read the section titled Springbok Description. Then use details from the text to answer the questions on the right. The directions say to scroll down to the description and read it. Here it is, Springbok Description. Roaming the central plains of southern Africa is the slender springbok, the national animal of South Africa. Within the last 100 years, springbok numbers have greatly declined, but older southern Africans still remember a time when springbok herds were so large that they took several days to pass their farms. Its striking body coloring distinguishes it from other antelopes. Cinnamon brown upper parts and white underparts, separated by a dark reddish-brown band that runs horizontally from the foreleg to the hind leg. A crest of white hairs runs along the back of the springbok. These are normally hidden beneath 2 folds of scent-secreting skin, but can be seen when the white hairs are erected in alarm. The head is white with a dark streak through each eye to the corner of the mouth, and the ears are long, narrow, and pointed. Both male and female springbok have beautifully heavily ridged, lyre-shaped horns, although those of the female are much more slender. Now that you've read that section, answer the question on the right. What words does the author use to describe the springbok? To answer this question, you can use the following sentence starter. The author describes the springbok as blank. Below on the screen here, I'm including the text from the website, the Springbok description, as well as some areas that I've underlined where the author is describing what the springbok looks like. And there are some really cool words that the author uses to describe them, so you want to include this in your answer. Do that now. Be sure to pause the video in order to have enough time to finish this question before you move on to number 5. Number 5. What is the main idea of this section? Write it in the box on the right hand with your red pencil. If you don't have a red pencil, you'll want to get one or highlight this section in some way so that it's easy for you to see and come back to at the end. To answer this question, you're going to use the following sentence starter. This section of the web page is mostly about the springbok's blank. Now I'm including on this slide, I'm including the description from the art from the website, so make sure you're looking there. I've also underlined some important information about the springbok's description. So remember that you're answering this question, what is this section about? Should be fairly easy, but make sure you pause the video now to complete that before you move on to number 6. Number 6. Scroll down and read the section titled Springbok Biology. Then use details from the text to answer the questions on the right. The directions say to scroll down to the Springbok Biology. So that's what we're going to read now. The springbok has many adaptations to enable a successful existence in the harsh and unpredictable environment of Africa's arid southwest. They are opportunists in both their feeding and breeding behavior. During the hot, rainy summers, springbok primarily graze on grasses and turn to browsing on shrubs in the colder and drier winters. They are also fond of feeding on flowers when available, and when water is scarce, springbok seek out moisture-rich foods, roots, tubers, and succulent foliage. Springbok will drink water whenever it is available, but also maintain their water balance by feeding at night, when the rise in humidity increases the water content of vegetation. Springboks are opportunistic breeders and can breed year-round, often synchronizing the birth of their young with periods of high rainfall when there is an abundance of green grass shoots to feed on. Normally, a single lamb is born after a 25-week gestation and is initially left hiding in a protected place such as a bush whilst the mother grazes away from her offspring. Their time apart gradually becomes less, and by 3 to 4 weeks of age, the lamb begins to spend most of their time with maternal herd. Lambs are weaned at 5 to 6 months. Weaned means they no longer drink milk from their mother. Females may remain with the maternal herd indefinitely, whilst young males leave the herd at 6 to 12 months to join a bachelor herd and reach sexual maturity by the age of 2. However, to be able to breed, a male must hold a territory and defend an area that hopefully contains resources attractive to females. During the rut, those males with the most attractive territories will mate with the most females, and many fights occur over territories during the rutting period. The ringed horns are effective fighting weapons, although they can become locked together during a fight, resulting in the death of one or both participants. Springbok are renowned for their pronking or stotting behavior. This comprises several consecutive stiff-legged jumps up to 2 meters high, with the back arched and the white crest of hair raised. Pronking may have several functions. It is a common response to predators. Those that jump higher or at a faster rate are fitter and faster, a fact that the predator should recognize and so pick out a weaker victim. It is also for purposes of orientation, as the springbok can take in their physical surroundings and the position of predators and other springbok. There is also a social role. The fold of skin on the back produces a secretion with a strong, sweet odor that can be released while pronking, and thus sends out a visual and olfactory, that means they can smell, messages to other springbok. After reading that section, answer the question on the right. What do you think graze means? What words in the text make you think so? To answer this question, use the following sentence starter. Graze means to blank. In the text, it says blank. To help you, I've included the text from the website down below, and I've underlined some key words or phrases that should help you figure out what graze means. And then those are the same words that you can use to help you answer that second part of the question, what words in the text make you think so? You do not need to include all of them, but choose the one that makes the most sense to you, that helped you figure out what graze means. Be sure to pause the video before you move on. Make sure you've answered this question completely. The next question asks, what does the springbok graze on? To answer this question, you can use the following sentence starter. The springbok grazes on blank. To help you, I've included the text from the website and underlined some key words and phrases that will help you answer that question. What does the springbok graze on? Be sure to pause the video now in order to answer this question completely before you move on to the next question. Next question. The web page says Springboks are renowned for their pronking or stotting behavior. What does pronking or stotting mean? What words in the text make you think so? To answer this question, you will use the following sentence starter. Pronking is when the springbok blank. In the text, it says blank. To help you, I'm including the text from the website, and I've underlined some key words and phrases that will help you answer this question. Be sure to pause the video before you move on to the next question so that you have plenty of time to do that. Last question for number 6. Describe how a springbok uses pronking to protect itself. To answer this question, use the following sentence starter. Pronking helps the springbok protect itself by telling predators blank. Up above, I've underlined some words and phrases that will help you answer this question. Be sure to pause the video now so that you have plenty of time to complete this question before moving on. Pause the video now. Number 7. What is the main idea of this section? Write it in the box on the right with your red pencil. Again, just as in number 5, you need to write this with a red pencil or highlight it in some way so that when it comes time to come back to it, you can locate it quickly. To answer this question, I've given you a sentence starter. This section of the web page is mostly about how the springbok blank, 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 and blank. So there's 4 paragraphs underneath the springbok biology, and each paragraph tells us something different about the springbok. And so when we're writing our main idea, we want to capture that. So in those blanks, you're going to put one piece of information from each paragraph. I've underlined some of the more important information there, and so you can use that to help you answer this question, what is the main idea of this section? Please pause the video now so that you can complete this section before you move on. Number 8. Scroll down and read the sections titled Springbok Range and Springbok Habitat. Then use details from the text to answer the question on the right. The directions say to scroll down and read the Springbok Range and the Springbok Habitat. We'll start with the Springbok Range. It occurs in southern Africa from southwestern Angola through Namibia, central and southwestern Botswana to the western parts of South Africa. So the range tells us where the animal lives. So the range just tells us like how big of an area they occupy and between which countries they live. So this is telling us all different parts of southern Africa where the Springbok gazelle lives. Now we're going to scroll down to the Springbok habitat. It says Springboks inhabit dry, open plains, from desert to savannas and shrublands, and from sea level up to South Africa's high veld plateau area. It prefers areas of short grasses and avoids tall grass, woodland, and other areas where vegetation restricts movement and visibility. Then we'll see that down here they have some animals that are found in similar habitats, and their status is of least concern. So in other words, they're not really threatened. Now that we've read that section, what do you think habitat means? What words in the text make you think so? To answer this question, use the following sentence starter. A habitat is blank. In the text, it says blank. I've included the section of the text that will help you answer this question and underlined some important details that will help you even further. So be sure to use that information to answer this question and fill in these blanks. Pause the video now so that you have time to complete this question before you move on. Next question. What is the Springbok's habitat? So again, you're going to use the following sentence starter. The Springbok's habitat is blank. And again, down below, I have highlighted or underlined some information that will help you answer this question. Be sure to pause the video so that you have plenty of time to answer this question completely before you move on to the next question. Number 9. Now scroll back up to the photographs and video at the top of the web page. Use details from the photographs and videos to answer the questions on the right. You do not need to go to the website. I'm going to include some of the pictures that you see on the website in just a second. You can look at those and then you're able to answer the question that follows. Again, I encourage you to go to the website after this video so that you can take some time on your own to look through it. Take some time to really study the area around the Springbok. Take a look at the landscape, take a look at the ground, take a look at the sky, take a look at any trees in the pictures. Really take a few moments to just study what is going on around the Springbok. Number 9 tells you to describe the Springbok's habitat. To answer this, you're going to use the following sentence starter. The Springbok's habitat can best be described as blank, blank, and blank. In the photos, I see blank. You can fill in the blanks with whatever you see. You can also think back to what you learned from the text about where they live and their habitat. But looking at these photographs, how can you describe the Springbok's habitat? Go ahead and pause the video now so that you have plenty of time to complete this answer before you move on. Number 10. What is the main idea of these sections? Write in the box on the right with your red pencil. I've included those sections down below, the Springbok range and the Springbok habitat. These sections of the web page are mostly about the Springbok living in blank, blank, and blank. Fill in the blank with information from the text. Pause the video now so that you have plenty of time to answer question number 10 before you move on to the next section. Pulling it all together. Number 11. Using evidence from the text, sketch what the Springbok does when a predator is near. So you're going to draw a picture of what the Springbok does when it sees a predator. Number 12, main idea. Look back at the answers you wrote in red. What is the main idea of this web page? Write it in the box on the right with your red pencil. To answer this, you can use the following sentence starter. This web page is all about the blank, and it's blank, what it blanks, how it blanks, and where it blanks. Take into consideration every section that you read. You read the description of the Springbok's biology, the Springbok's range, and its habitat. So you're going to take a little piece of information from each of those sections and put it into the main idea of the whole web page. Be sure to pause the video now so that you can go back to your notes and complete number 12 completely and accurately using your notes. Again, pause the video now to do that. Pulling it all together. Number 13, summary. After thinking more closely about your expert group's web page, summarize what you think this web page is mostly about. Use several specific details from the web page in your summary. Remember that your summary should have 3 parts. Number 1, a topic sentence or the main idea. Number 2, details. You want at least 3 supporting details. And finally, you should have a conclusion sentence. All of those pieces make up a summary. I want you to take some time to think about the summary, but I am providing you with a sort of framework or sentence starters, a little bit of structure to help you with the summary. Your topic sentence will say, this web page was all about the blank. Here you can fill in the animal that you were learning about. Then you're going to use that animal's name again, and you're going to say blank are animals that look like blank. So you're going to include some physical description of the animal. They eat blank. They protect themselves by blank. Finally, they live in blank. The blank is an amazing animal. That's your conclusion sentence. So if you use this sentence, if you use these sentences, if you use this structure, it should be easy peasy to get your summary written. But be sure to pause the video right now so that you can do your summary before you move on. Number 14, word meaning. Reread this research guide, noticing the words in bold print. Talk with your partner about 3 ways you might figure out the meaning of an unknown word. Then follow the directions on the right. Choose 3 words in bold print in this guide. Add the definitions of these words to the glossary of your expert group animal research journal. So those 3 words that were in the guide were graze, pronking or stotting, and habitats. So you can go back to figure out what it is that you said the definition of those words were, and then you want to add those to the glossary at the back of this research journal. Take some time to do that now. Pause the video so that that is completed. End of lesson 2.